you want me to read? I am ready when you are.
I'll give it a look.
It's recording.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Didn't hear it, no,
You
it's on.
guys are all waiting for me to say.
Recording in progress.
There we go.
Sorry.
Progress. All right, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the agenda for the Production Policy Committee for Monday, May 22nd at 6 p.m. Roll call, Alder Morgan. Present. Alder Grant.
Present.
Alder Scannell.
Here.
Alder Stevens, I'm here as well. Everybody's present. On to approval of the agenda.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right, ayes have it. Now on to approval of the minutes for May 18th, 2023.
I approve those minutes.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
It says 8th on mine.
The
Eighth.
Yep.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right, ayes have it. On to regular business.
Yep.
Consideration of possible action on various liquor and/or beer license renewal applications with no changes for the 2023-2024 license year, subject to the approval of the proper authorities. Attached. Attorney?
No objections.
All right, please.
None here
All
either.
right, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays? All right, the ayes have it. On to number 2, consideration of possible action on the immediate change of agent for Hyatt Corporation at 33 Main Street to Jessica Shelby. Attorney,
No objections.
please.
None.
All right,
Motion to approve.
do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, on to number 3. I would take a motion to suspend the rules for items number 3 through 8. Do
I move to suspend the rules for items 3 to 8.
I have a second?
Second.
I'm going to have to abstain on 4.
Okay.
That's fine, you can just make that vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right. Staff, any questions, concerns?
No.
Okay, please.
No.
All right, I will take a motion to approve
So moved.
3 through 8. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? All right, ayes have it. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I'm ready.
Okay, a little housekeeping to do. Everything that's discussed tonight is a recommendation to Common Council, which will be on June 6th at 6 p.m. So on to number 9, consideration of possible action on appeal by Elliott Heath for the order issued by inspections at 3688 Church Street. Attorney?
So I think Mr. Heath is here, correct? To
correct.
present, staff from Community and Economic Development Inspections Department do not appear to be present.
Thank you.
So you can hear from Mr. Heath and make your decision based on the information we have, or hold it.
I would like to open the floor and find out if holding this is a good problem for the petitioner.
Sure,
Second.
it looks like
Someone just came on from
Did they?
inspections.
Oh,
Oh, perfect.
You got someone from Inspections?
No, that's Melinda.
No, Paul's on.
Paul
In
just.
the waiting room.
Ah.
Second.
Yep.
Sorry about that.
There we go. Okay.
Perfect.
We're good.
So, to proceed, you can hear from, you can set an amount of time if you'd like to set a time limit, hear from the property owner, and then to staff, and then you have, obviously, as usual, can ask follow-up questions.
So motion to
You don't
open the
have
floor.
to make, you don't have to make a motion, to open the floor, it's just a hearing.
Oh, it's a hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well then.
5 minutes. Okay. You can come on up.
Okay.
I just need, yep, I need you to state your name and your address for the record.
Elliott Heath, 3688 Church Road.
Okay, and
So
then
I-
we go 5 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. So I had provided some information to you guys earlier. I don't know if you guys get that. I had sent some pictures to the attorney as well as a statement regarding the case at hand. Did you guys get that, or do you get that?
We got pictures.
Yeah, we just don't know who they're from.
Yes, I think you're in the packet, if not, we can,
I don't want to read everything if you already have.
Sure,
some
clarification, are these from
background.
staff or?
Yeah, and you're,
There's a drain and some, yeah.
well, just that you're appealing it, nothing really, details.
Well, I made I had a big thing that I had sent with all the,
Are these pictures from,
Yeah.
are we
let's
have
just double
these?
check.
yeah, I
real
had some
quick.
pictures, but should have been in a whole other file as well.
let me just double check. I know the document that you're talking about, and I can make a copy if necessary, because I... Copy's got it. Just give me 1 second.
See those two items.
There's different ones back, and I think one's in front, the sump pump is in the
Oh,
back.
never mind, that's fine.
I thought this morning when I was looking at it, there was more.
So that's a bummer, because that was my official statement that I was hoping
Well,
that
you
you
could
guys
read
would-
it, or...
I don't have the whole
You're
thing.
fine.
Oh,
You're
oh,
fine. I can print it us here. There are 6 documents attached, so I'm
Okay.
just gonna review all of them, because I know which one you're
Okay,
talking
here I
about.
see where it says drains.
Your time isn't started yet.
I know.
Yeah. So is there a church on Church Road?
There is.
There is some thought.
Let me just print off the email that you sent me. 'cause it
Holy
was
cross.
6 documents.
I see 10 pictures on.
So there was pictures on one, there was pictures on another, and then there was a 2-page document, just typed, just words. Correct?
Give me 1 second. There are 6 documents already attached, so I'm just making sure. Do you all have the 6 documents that are in the...
Yep,
I have 6
Okay.
pictures.
There's your narrative printed for us. 1 second. I can do
I
that right
don't see
now.
the letter.
I think the letter's the only thing missing,
Yep.
Okay.
but there's
I'll do that right now.
pictures.
Yeah, if you look at drains, you see all the pictures.
I was kind of drained,
Actually,
looking at all these pictures. It took a lot out of me.
Randy, Randy.
Kind of pumped me up. I think so.
What is this?
Pumped me up.
Give me 1 second. I just have to grab my protocol.
Well, should we
Please.
hear from Paul maybe? Does it matter whatever?
Doesn't matter, whatever.
That way we can, you can respond to anything he has to say.
I think I'd like to go first, if I have a choice.
Okay, if you would rather go first, that's fine.
Should we
Yeah,
ask
we've
Paul if he can hear well?
Huh?
Should we ask Paul if he can hear everything?
Yep, I can hear just fine. And Jason Sladke, the plumbing inspector, is here as well.
You can give me.
Thank you.
What'd you say, Gail?
I said, huh? But you didn't. Oh, you were in on it.
Your jokes today are not your strongest. You've had better.
I beg to differ.
This is what you're... You already have a copy? Maybe?
No, I'll take it.
Yep, okay, perfect. Here you go. Sorry about that, but all these items, maybe, keep, there you go.
Goodness gracious, Randy.
Like my ringtone?
That's your, right?
Yeah.
Would you like me to do that? I'll double check. Mr. Keith, really quick, just in any hearing we, for both you and our testimony from Community and Economic Development, we just ask you to do a quick, do you swear that everything, all the information you're going to provide is the truth?
Absolutely.
Nothing further? Perfect.
Thank you.
So, the one that you guys just received was the official statement that I was hoping that you had already read, as I had sent it back last week. But I'm going to kind of give you the abridged version today, unless you guys want to continue reading. See, you're all
Go ahead.
busy. So, I was in the middle of purchasing a house last August, or I was set to purchase the house in August of 2022, August 1st. In July of that same year, with permission from my home builder and the developer, my father and I began planning the underground pipes for my sub pump and 2 downspouts, as my builder does not provide this service at a location without stormwater sewers. On the day that we began working on it in mid-July, the city inspector Jason showed up unannounced and began giving my father and I a bunch of grief for laying the pipes. He was very confrontational, swearing at us multiple times. As I mentioned to Mrs. Grant already. He has given us a bunch of excuses on why we could not continue the project. He had mentioned stuff about pressurized water, the retention pond, and a list of other issues. The main takeaway from this conversation, however, was that he said that I was not the official owner of the house and I would have to wait until I took ownership of it before continuing any project. He left us by saying, do whatever the F you want. To avoid any controversy, we waited until August when I had taken ownership of this house. We called Diggers Hotline, we rented equipment from Sunbelt, and we buried the pipes on around August 5th. We did this during the middle of the day, not attempting to hide anything. One pipe was buried and leads to the edge of my property. Gravity then flows that water into a secondary ditch, leading to the retention pond behind my house. The second pipe was connected to 2 downspouts and ran to the ditch along the Church Road. Everything was fine until April of 25th this year, when I received violation in the mail. I attempted to get an explanation from the city inspectors, but ended with no help. Currently, there's 25 houses with driveways along Church Road. 23 of them have 1 or even 2 pipes buried underground that lead to that ditch. That's the file that you guys saw that said drains. Or pipes, one of the 2. It's the one with all the pipes sticking out of the ground.
Yeah.
I have included in several. Please note that no 2 houses are the same. Some are up in the yard, some are down in the ditch. One's even connected to the metal driveway culvert. Many of these houses have additional pipes buried in their backyards, leading to the nearby woods. My violation reads that official plumbing was done without a licensed plumber. I've asked several times but not seen any answers on how many of those 23 houses along Church Road have used licensed plumbers for their pipes. I'm still waiting for the response. I was told specifically, with my father as a witness, he's here today, that I could bury the pipes once I took ownership of the property. I was not trying to be secretive, but following the instructions given to me by the city plumbing inspector. From other sources, I've heard that this is one of the last conversations, one of his last weeks that Jason had employment with the city. My violation came up shortly after his re-employment with the city. Is his misinformation that he gave me the result of knowing his job was ending? And if so, why would I be punished for such? So in April, to avoid additional fines and wait for this to be all clarified, I disconnected my 2 underground pipes and instead ran them above ground. The white sub pump pipe is 16 feet across the side of my yard and makes for quite an eyesore. The water from the pipe goes to the exact same spot as the underground option, as seen from the flow of water across my yard. The second pipe now pulls water into my neighbor's yard, as that is the only place for it to go. Upon re-inspection, the city inspector agreed that these above-ground pipes are now compliant, but I would have to remove the underground pipes. I think this is an attempt to overstep their boundaries, as the pipes in their current state have no flowing water and no plumbing associated with them whatsoever. Not only do I think I should not have to remove them, but I think that I should be able to keep them connected as they were. They flowed water away from my house and my neighbors. They drained into the same areas as they currently are, and they provide a much cleaner look for my property and the neighborhood. And most importantly, I did all of this under the word of the city inspector. That's all.
Thank you. Questions?
Not all day, no.
We may have questions, so.
Ball's up.
I believe the father wants to speak.
I'd like to speak to if possible.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Is that okay for him to do?
Just
now?
an hour is it?
It would be best if they go and then we can add more witness testimony, if that makes
Okay.
sense. Either one is fine, really, it's more time, so.
Okay.
Give a preference.
All right, I'll go.
Paul?
Okay. Elliot had a conversation.
Sorry, sir, can you just state your name and
Oh,
your
Dave
address
Heath.
for the record?
Dave Heath, Elliot's father. I also live on Church Road. Lived there for 15 years. One of the first houses that was built there. Saw all different sides of Church Road where landscapers, home builders had buried these pipes themselves. I've seen every house that was built. So it's nothing new to the area that the water is going into the ditches. All you're trying to do is keep your basement dry and your neighbor's yard dry. That's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to do anything fancy or that anybody else of these 25 houses don't have. Elliot sits right there on top, or at the bottom of the escarpment. The escarpment is layered rocks and it runs all the way probably from New York to Sturgeon Bay. There is no way if you know anything about soil, anything about runoff, that water is gonna seep down into the escarpment. So we have a 30-foot grade right here in the town of Scott. All that water in the town of Scott is coming down into Green Bay. We have a retention, excuse me, retention pond around these 9 houses. And these 9 houses are just trying to keep each other dry. And 90% of the water is probably coming from the town of Scott, because we went up there and looked on Bay Settlement, and they got pipes running all the way up and down the road. I mean, it's just flowing towards Green Bay is all it is. So, and I don't think that it's unnecessary or wrong that you can't flow your water into this area that you're collecting it from the town of Scott, is my point. Also, the inspector's boss, I don't know his name.
Paul, I think.
Paul called Elliot and said that he could not confirm or deny what Jason had told him about taking ownership. Well, I can definitely confirm he said that. He definitely said that to us, that we did not have ownership, we couldn't do nothing. That is exactly what he said. So, again, confrontational, leaving his job, ends up coming back to the city. After an argument, was he targeting us? I don't know, I can't say that he was. But all of a sudden, water's going good for 7 months, he comes back, and next thing you know, Elliot gets a citation in the mail. And my point is, I worked for the city 36 years. I've been in this room 100 times. Okay, garbage man, retired, okay? Anybody, when I worked there at 36 years, that would have talked like that to any taxpayer, at least they would have had 3 days off with no pay, maybe a week, maybe fired. I didn't even say nothing because I was an ex-city worker. I said maybe he's having a bad day, but now, what do you got? You got a guy coming back that didn't like his job, he hated his job. Now he's back working for the city. What's gonna happen next time he doesn't like his job? Same thing? Gonna punch somebody? I don't know, I have no idea. Maybe he's a great employee. That's something you guys are gonna have to decide, because I personally think he's a loose cannon. So, that's my take on the situation. We're not doing nothing that we weren't told we could do, and nothing's illegal, as far as I'm concerned.
Just on the, did you file a complaint with HR with
No.
the conduct?
No, didn't have to.
Okay.
I don't want to.
Okay.
I don't want to. I don't want to yet. I'm just explaining to you
Okay.
what I think is going on here.
Right, okay.
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Ben Castle, are you ready? Paul?
Yeah, I can go. So, a little bit of background on this, and I'll let Jason get into the details because he's been in the details on this one. We work with DPW on these cases where there's drainage that's going into their ponds and swales that are restricted to DPW. So that's how it came to our knowledge that there was this issue a year ago. And that's why Jason went out there.
That's nice.
I'm sorry, guys, you just need to wait to
Okay,
listen, because I
okay.
didn't interrupt, but you were gonna have a time to respond.
Okay, thank you, I didn't know.
You're fine.
Go ahead, Paul.
So he pointed it out last year, the pipes were removed, and then as they stated, somewhere between last year and when Jason got word again from DPW this spring, the pipes were reinstalled and reconnected. And I'll let Jason kind of comment on the plumbing code that he's filing, or, discussing, and he's noted in his orders, and go from there, and I'll jump back in if there's pieces I gotta fill in.
Okay.
Excuse me, thank you all, and good evening. I'm Jason Slatke. I'm one of the 2 plumbing inspectors with the city of Green Bay. As Paul stated, in 2022, in June of 2022, I was directed by Paul as well at the request of DPW and Kelly O'Malley, who for lack of a better term, she's the keeper of the storm pond system in the city. There were two pipes that were connecting into this stormwater pond behind this property in violation of the city ordinance, and they were crossing into city-owned property, and I was directed to find those, identify them, and order them out. The access to get to the stormwater pond comes right along the side of Mr. Heath's, what is now Mr. Heath's property. So they have sent out to find these other two violating pipes. I drove down Church Road, parked, and enter onto the city's ponds down the way with their frontage. I found both the Heath's father and the son were installing stormwater piping in their yard. I did explain to them they cannot do this for numerous reasons. First of all, state statute requires that no one may do plumbing in the state of Wisconsin unless they're licensed to do so by the state. There is an exemption to a owner of a single-family dwelling that would allow them to do plumbing inside of their home. I explained this to both gentlemen, that once Mr. Heath, the junior, owns the home, he can do and occupies the home, he can do plumbing inside of his home. The caveat is it's inside of the home. They cannot do work outside. I explained to them both that everything they had done basically had been a violation. We would not be able to do a final inspection on the home or grant occupancy. They didn't seem to agree with me on that. I explained, you do whatever you like, but there won't be occupancy granted for this house until piping is in compliance. You can have your contractor, a licensed sewer contractor, run it up to the Church Road ditch, but it cannot go to that swale that's part of the city's stormwater. I did follow up. I also sent the builder, there was a builder involved at this point. I explained to him the same thing. I returned on July 11th and found that all the piping had been removed. That was the end of my dealing until April 24th of this year, when I was again contacted via email from Kelly O'Malley and DPW, who was in charge of the storm ponds, that the city's contractor was unable to do their prescribed controlled burn of all the grasses around the pond because they found pipes coming from the Heath home into the storm pond, and they were unable to perform their work. I was again asked to follow up with corrective measures, and that is when I returned to the property, and I observed there was now a pipe going reinstalled back to the city's infrastructure, as well as a pipe going out to the Church Road ditch. Any plumbing, again, is required by statute to be installed by the person licensed to do so, and in state admin code, any work is required to be inspected prior to being covering and installed to the standards and the codes, applicable codes for the state of Wisconsin. The pipe had been covered. It also violated city municipal code by not having a permit for said work. So the orders I sent to Mr. Heath were to remove all of the underground piping, because all of it is in violation of city ordinance as well as state plumbing code, and that if they want to do this by statute, it has to be done by a person's licensed to do so in the state of Wisconsin. I understand there is confusion or maybe just disagreement over whether that the drainage alongside Mr. Heath's house is part of a pond or part of a ditch. That's up to the Department of Public Works as well as their DNR permit that allows, I'm sure the owners are familiar with these, the DNR licensing with stormwater management in the city. So I was sent out there last year at the request of DPW, found the violation, had the orders corrected, was sent back again this year, again at the request of DPW, because their contractor found the violation. So if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, I will mute myself. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We do have questions for you.
Are all drains considered plumbing, or is it just the sump pump? drain.
It's all, there is a definition in Wisconsin statute, I don't know if you have access to internet there. It's Wisconsin statute 145.01, paragraph 10. That defines plumbing in the state of Wisconsin. And what was done here, and we were conveying stormwater, whether it be from the roof or from the sump pump, that is by definition plumbing in the state of Wisconsin.
Okay, yes. So my understanding, it's two issues. One, that they did it without a license, didn't have a licensed plumber do it, and where the pipes are going, so that even if it was a licensed plumber, there would still be an issue?
Correct, Alderman. There's two pipes leaving the Heath residence. One is going out to Church Road. If that was installed by a licensed contractor with a permit, that would be allowed. DPW, I do not believe, has an issue with that. The issue comes in where they ran out the side yard and they ran into what is part of this stormwater infrastructure. That is a restricted space according to DPW. That's not my area of expertise. Ms. Alley is the person that oversees that, and she's the one who requested these be removed, that they're a violation of the, or I believe it's a violation of ordinance as well as their DNR operating permit for those pumps.
Okay, and there's no one else in the area that is pumping into the pond?
To the best of my knowledge, in 2022, I was sent out there, there was two houses off of Sussex that had drains going into there. Both were removed at a request last year, and to the best of my knowledge, did not reinstall that last year.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right.
Is there any way that the ones that, you mentioned the one that goes to the ditch line, if it was installed by a licensed plumber would be fine? Is there any way the other ones can be, where can they send that water to legally?
Yeah, I believe both could be directed to the ditch, the Church Road ditch. I talked with Mr. Elliott, or excuse me, Mr. Heath, and I did explain that because one's on one side of the driveway, one's on the other side now. They could incur extra expense from DPW down on the road. If storm sewer is ever extended, that they would have two connection points. DPW may require 2 fees for that, but in the eyes of the plumbing code, we don't have any issue with that. Our code basically states that your stormwater can discharge in a manner that does not create a nuisance, nor is prohibited by ordinance. So both of them going to the ditch. I'm not aware of any ordinance saying you can't run to the ditch. It would be perfectly fine if they're installed by licensed persons in a code compliant manner.
Thank you.
I guess I have a question for you, Jason. So during your inspection, the pipes that are going to the ditch line, do you feel they were they're properly installed the way they are currently?
Thank you. I do not believe they are. I consider there's a lack of a locating method for non-metallic pipe. I didn't see them installed. I don't know what the fittings. When I found the gentleman last year installing piping alongside the house, they were doing was not code compliant. They were not meeting the fitting radii requirements, sweeping of fittings, patterns of fittings, things of this nature. So while it may be kind of harmless now that they're just going to a ditch, if the city extends storm sewer, they would not be compliant and connect to a city storm sewer system. Even without the storm sewer system, by statute, they are considered plumbing and need to be installed in a code compliant manner.
Are we planning on doing any city stuff out there in the next couple of years? Regarding what you were saying?
I don't know if you would know that with
Paul know?
inspections.
No, I wouldn't know. DPW might have an idea. But then again, like Jason said, it doesn't matter relative to the plumbing that was done.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Question?
Can I respond?
Yes.
So, the last point he mentioned about all the pipes along Church Road, I purposely sent you guys pictures of all the drain pipes because every one is different. Some are up in the yard, some are down in the ditch, some are green pipe, some are angled, some are straight. One's even literally going to that metal culvert. So not one is the same. We use Schedule 40 or whatever.
Better than we had.
Better than we had to piping, which is going to make the connections a lot easier than a flimsy green landscaping pipe, which a lot of them have. As far as the water draining to the ditch, I know there's a technicality regarding is it going to the pond or is it going to the swale? But that other picture shows the water going to the exact same spot. Gravity is taking that water from that above ground white pipe and going to the exact same spot. It's clay, it's dirt, the water is leading into the swale. He told me that that was completely compliant, but the one that's literally 3 feet next to it underneath the ground is not compliant. The water is making its way to the exact same spot, and under his guise, we told that we could do it as long as we took ownership. He never mentioned indoor anything. I purposely put that in my statement that he said, exterior, this project cannot be done until you take ownership. And again, the picture doesn't show it, but those two pipes are almost side by side. They said that one is completely compliant, the one that's above ground, running across my yard, and it probably could even be longer. So I don't understand the difference other than the technicality that it wasn't done by a licensed plumber. The water is legal as it's going right now, and it's going to the exact same location on both. I can also put a 30-foot white flexible pipe out of my downspout and lead it to the ditch on Church Road, and that's compliant, but a beautifully laid pipe underneath the ground that nobody can see is not compliant.
So the first pipe you're talking about,
There's two pipes, right?
right, there's two pipes, so that's, first one you're talking about, that, the over and above, right? That-
Yep.
And you said a swale's
It
taking
goes to the swale, which leads to the retention
Okay,
pond.
so-
Correct.
That goes to the retention
The
pond.
swale makes its way to the retention pond.
Okay, and that's the issue with DPW.
That's apparently, yep. So
Yeah.
I've never seen anything from DPW. I've never heard from anybody from DPW.
Right.
This is the first I've heard of any of this. He mentioned the burn. Well, the burn was done shortly after mine, and they are anywhere near my pipe at all. I don't know where that was coming from, but they burned the retention pond behind, and they did not come anywhere near my house or anywhere near that swale. My issue is the above ground pipe, that little small white pipe that's leading across my yard, is almost to the exact end point of the underground pipe. The underground pipe is no good because it leads to the ditch, but the above ground pipe apparently doesn't, even though the water's right next to it. This doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, and again, with, I'd like to check the coil, the tracer wire around the pipe, because nobody has it. You can see every pipe. I took pictures of 10 of them. I took pictures of all 25 that day, but I just sent you a couple, just to show. There's no tracer wire on half of them, because again, this is something that people do on their own. It's a pipe, it's a landscaping project, it's a way to divert water away from your neighbor, so you guys don't have complaints down the road from people pooling water into their yards. We didn't do this illegally, or we didn't do this secretively. We literally rented a ditcher. We did it under the guise of what he told us to do. We called Diggers Hotline. We made sure we were nowhere near any of these pipes, and we drained them right to the ditch along Church Road. If we have to add a second pipe down the road, I'll pay for that. I already mentioned that to him if I had to, but I don't think I need to, because the pipe that is above ground is going to the same spot as the pipe that's going below ground. It's literally in the same spot. You can see the puddles, it's going right down there. It's clay, the water runs right into the swale, which leads to the stormwater pond in the back.
Okay. So, if I may just bounce back to Paul and Ryan, that pipe should be removed so that it's not going to the swale and into the pond? Is that DPW's issue?
Yes, Alderman, DPW has the issue with the swale.
Right.
Plumbing code would not
Right.
care, provided, DPW was okay. They're the ones who consider it an ordinance violation and a nuisance, so they requested inspections,
Right.
assistance on
Okay.
this. So if they were in there in a code compliant manner. Unfortunately, state statute does draw the line as soon as we take stormwater and bury it. If it's on the surface, It's not plumbing. As soon as we bury it, it becomes plumbing by law.
Okay. But right now, you don't have, the buried pipes are not
I
connected.
disconnect everything because I didn't want to get a fine. My wife's a worry, so I didn't want to push that any further until we got this straightened out.
Okay. So right now, the only issue is that one pipe going to the swale.
No, he said that's fine. The above ground pipe is fine. And my question is, why can't I have the below ground? 'Cause
I thought it was above, I thought it was okay as far as licensing, plumbing and everything goes. You don't need that, but
No, I think-
it's still going to the swale, which is going to the pond, and that's DPW's issue, so that still has to be moved, correct?
They said it
Correct.
could be routed to the front.
It could be routed to the right, it just has to take a
But he
different.
told me that the pipe, as it's above ground, is currently fine. It's in the same spot. The white pipe that goes down to the edge of the edge of my property, drains all the water from my sub pump. It's above ground. It's going to the swale. But he told me 100% that that was compliant.
Okay.
So my question is, why is the one that's 3 feet away from it underground? Why is that not compliant? Other than the fact that it wasn't done by a licensed plumber, which nobody does.
Well,
And apparently we didn't know we had to,
And we were told we didn't have to.
didn't have to. We would have been, that ain't the issue. I mean, we did everything
Yeah,
right.
I'm not gonna dig them up now. They're already done.
We got one pipe underneath the sidewalk. You want us to take a jackhammer and take the sidewalk? I mean, everybody has the drain coming out. You want to run a pipe across, that's,
Okay.
you know, and that was in place when they poured the concrete. All you're trying to do is keep water away from your neighbor's properties, all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a water issue out there because of that escarpment. The basements, you know, have a tendency to be wetter than normal because there's no, no place to drain, that's all. We're not asking for $1 million here. All we're trying to do is get the basement dry.
okay, I think I understand.
May I ask inspections, as you last saw what they had there above ground, if a licensed plumber put that underground, they would be compliant?
If it were installed in a compliant manner, but being it's buried, it was concealed before I saw it, I don't have a way to verify that aside from, you could send a camera down and verify the fitting types. We've worked with people before. This really isn't that big of an issue.
Right.
This is simply, we do need to have means to locate that, so if.
But what I was questioning is what you saw above ground, that they have last inspection, what you saw was above ground. If a licensed plumber was brought in and put that underground, that would be okay?
I would verify that it's installed to the standards of the state plumbing code, yes, that, I'm fine with it going to Church Road's ditch. This is really DPW's issue with their stormwater. This isn't inspection having a problem with this is DPW, and, you know, we're directed to work with them and to help assist them in maintaining their good standing with the DNR. So, I mean, DPW, stormwater folks are okay. Where it goes, we're okay. This isn't an inspections issue.
How are we gonna know that? You can't really tell us then that they can legally do that? That it may be, not legally, but say there may be an issue with DPW?
There is if it's going to the swale.
Yeah.
I don't believe DPW has an issue with any of them going to the ditch of Church Road.
Right.
But there's a map, and I don't know if you've seen it, that came from Kelly in DPW, that specifically delineates that ditch alongside Mr. Heath's house as part of that stormwater pond. That's where the rub comes from DPW, and it violates their permit. So inspections have no issue. It's a stormwater issue.
I have a question for you or Paul. You mentioned a camera. Can we send a camera down that pipe to make sure everything's kosher?
For the most part, yes, we should be able to determine that.
Okay, and if this is a DPW issue, where's DPW tonight?
Well,
Just a comment,
Yeah.
so.
I don't know that this is Paul, I don't know that they received an invite from that perspective, but we've done this before in a prior PNP where we kind of like tabled it for weeks to the next meeting. got the clarity from another entity, in this case it'd be DPW, on that one that's going to the pond. Is it okay where it's discharging currently above ground, or is it not okay at that point? They have criteria, and I'm not the expert either, and the distance between the discharge point and where it hits their, we'll call it their pond, their delineated pond area, that has to flow over grass and so forth before it gets to the pond. That I know is acceptable, but I don't know if that's 5 feet, 10 feet, or 20 feet. That clarity. Kelly.
All right, thank you, Paul.
Just
Oh,
one more question. If the pipes are disconnected, the ones that are underground, but they're disconnected, do they still need to be removed?
Thank you, Alderman. Being the fact that they removed them last, and as soon as their permit. Is there IT?
You froze up, we didn't hear all that.
He still froze.
I'll cover for him while
Okay.
he's recovering. Being that they put them in last year, disconnected them when Jason told them to disconnect them, and removed them, and then put them in after the fact with no permit, that's this concern here too, that they'll just disconnect them and then reconnect them once we put it underground.
Okay.
And technically, to Jason's point, that it's not plumbing until it's maybe televised, like he's suggesting, that we could verify that it's installed correctly. For the one going to church, not to the pump.
Right.
But we've allowed residents to submit a permit after the fact. We've done it before with sheds and stuff. They agree,
Lily?
if they agree to
Go
do
ahead,
it
Sarah.
after, then, and allow the camera to check it, that's something we can offer as an option, isn't it?
yes.
We can't, it's not the preferred option, because obviously you can't see the way it's installed, you're going on the televised view on the inside.
But we are missing DPW here.
Right.
For the front one, to
For
the
the-
drain.
for-
I'm
yeah, for
not
the-
worried about I'm talking about the
Right.
Church Road one.
Just the front at this point.
Right.
The back one, I would say is tabled until next time we meet.
Yeah.
I assume there's an expense to do a camera setup like that. Whose expense is that? The homeowner, the city?
That would be on the homeowner, from my perspective, being if they did it without a permit and didn't use a plumber. And hire the plumber to televise it and justify that it is properly installed.
So we did it under the direction of the city inspector that told us that we could do it once we took ownership. That's it. That's the whole argument of all this. This is what we've been dealing with. We just keep getting a bunch of random information that doesn't all gel together. Now it sounds like they're okay with just leaving the pipes in. If we need to cut off 4 or 6 feet off the one that drains to the swale, I can cut it off and it'll just drain into the ground. Right now it drains over ground into the swale that he's talking about, the ditch that leads to the back one, right? But he said above ground, he said it's totally fine. It's literally ending in the same spot. If they want me to cut off 4 or 6 feet off that pipe, so then the water drains more into my yard or down into the soil, that's fine too. We have no problem with that at all.
Want us to pull off the last section of pipe at the connector. There's 2 runs of pipe there. We can take off the last piece of pipe, which there's no connector, let it go into his yard, here to the other side of the wall, away from that thing. It's 100% now on his own yard. There's no connections going on, it's just a pipe, basically. I mean, we can do that.
And we've never heard anything from DPW once. Right, they said that he got a complaint from DPW, but he told me that he came back to my house as a result of our actions back in July or June. And he also, oh shoot, I don't even know now, we just keep hearing stuff, so yeah.
Did you reconnect it?
That was it, yes, so it was never covered. We just never filled in we just took it out to avoid this whole deal.
Yeah.
So we didn't bury it and then re-dig it back up. It was never buried.
Never got
It
buried.
was just, we dug a few ditches, we laid the pipes in there to make sure we had the right lengths, and then when he came by, we said, okay, he said, no, you can't do this, blah, 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 so then we left it alone. We took it apart, we brought it to my dad's house, we didn't do anything, we didn't bury it, we didn't rebury it, we didn't do anything.
Didn't do nothing.
As soon as the house was mine, we connected that pipe, that was where we left it. And it was totally fine until April of this year. The water is literally going to the same spot in my yard or within a few feet of that. So for it to pass the buck to the DPW, that's fine, but that's not anything that I've heard through this whole conversation starting last month.
So you would rather, instead of the pipe that's going to the swale,
Yep,
instead of redirecting that to the ditch, you would rather just cut it shorter?
absolutely. I
Okay.
just don't want to see it. I don't want my neighbors to see it. I don't want the neighborhood to look like some of those ones with pipes all over. If I can cut it off, I'll leave it alone.
You're talking a $450,000 house here, a brand new house. It's not a year old. I mean, you really want junk like that hanging around? I mean, if you don't, and then, you know, as you build, right, he's the first house, and you're coming down a hill. Well, he's higher than the guy next door to him, right? Guess what's gonna happen? That guy's gonna be in here eventually saying, my neighbor's putting water in my yard, what are we gonna do about this?
Right.
You know? And then the next house is lower than that.
Right.
It's this, you
Right,
know?
Yeah.
If we do the camera and get it approved, are we going above, though, the state codes of requiring a licensed
Right.
plumber? Can we do that with the state violation? If we get it checked with the camera?
Sounds like you can.
What if
I just want
we
to
had a
verify, because
licensed
if we offer this,
plumber
then I
look
want to
at
make
it?
sure they can't.
Right, you're not, I mean, the state's involved in this too, and that's, don't want, yeah. We don't want to say something that's then
Right.
gonna not, you know, the state then is gonna jump on.
Inspections can make a decision about whether it's code compliant with the state. That's Paul and Jason, they make the decision whether it's compliant with the state
State,
requirements.
okay.
Yes.
And camera would determine if it's okay with the state, meeting state laws?
Yes, Alderman, I believe, I believe we could verify. There may be an issue of some, a means of locating the non-metallic pipe, a tracer wire for lack, something of that. And also the pipe that does carry, I was at this home numerous times when it was built, and I know they have a water issue, ground surface water issue. I know DPW doesn't want that pipe merely shortened and directed to their storm swale. I would recommend that if the Heaths would like to do that, direct it towards the Church Road ditch. That can handle that water. We would not have a violation. The worst thing I can see coming of that would be a double connection fee if storm sewer ever were to be extended down Church Road, which isn't a guarantee, but if it ever were, they could face a possible double connection fee, but that would make the most sense to get that water away from their home. I understand they do have, there's a lot of groundwater out there. I was there from the time the sewer and water laterals run to the home through the entire construction project. There's a lot of groundwater out there. So I understand where Mr. Heath's coming from and his desire to get that water away from his home. It's completely understandable. And we do have means within the code to take care of that. They just need to work with us.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, we're gonna have to get DPW involved, yeah, okay.
Have staff go.
Yeah, it's DP, oh, am I-
Oh, Chief,
can I-
can I add something about
Yes.
DPW? So we're referring to DPW, a contractor, just for background, a contractor working for DPW with the fire department doing a prescribed burn, called out the pipe that's, was draining to the long grass. Pipe located in the area, it's a city right of way, city owned, city hires a contractor to maintain that, did a prescribed burn, they skipped it. So the reason why they said they didn't come close is because the information that we have is that they avoided that area until the issue could be resolved. You are correct that we'd have to talk to DPW about a discharge, but I'm guessing based on the information that I've seen regarding the contractor, is that our contractor will not work in that area if there are any pipes. So
Even
we
if
have
the
to
one
do a
was cut
prescribed-
short?
There's a question we'd have to ask. We could certainly ask about that, but the issue, which is flagged that they couldn't do the work out there because they don't do it if they find pipes or anything else. But the contractor specifically called out as likely a connection to the sump pump. So the city pays a contractor to maintain that discharge, maintains the pond. There were other issues that were found at the time, some mowing that was occurring too. But anyway, that was, for the background, that's how the complaint was sent to inspections, was by DPW in conjunction with their contractor that maintains the drainage ditch in the pond.
Okay. So, I would recommend that we hold this and we get DPW's Yeah. Well, if we hold this, we can take care of everything all at once. I don't want to take any action tonight myself till we get all the, myself. Okay, so we'll hold this, get DPW's input on this, if cutting the pipe works. I mean, they've got state and DNR stuff they've got on their back. So, I mean, that's what it's all about with that pond. So, if they're okay, if it'll be, not gonna get them in trouble for you to cut that back, and you still wanna go that way, and it's okay with DPW, then it's just a matter of the cameras. So that'd be the other issue. So, we'll hold this, get word from DPW, otherwise, if they say it won't work, it'll have to go to the ditch. It'll have to get redirected to the ditch.
Which is fine.
You know, I mean, that's gonna be state DNR stuff, we're stuck, so is DPW. I mean, you know, it's, and then for the cameras,
I was gonna ask,
yep.
inspections, can they hire their own plumber to do a camera, or does it have to be done through the city?
It doesn't matter who would do that. We could be there, or they could provide an electronic copy of what was the camera that was sent up. It'd probably help if we're there. That way we can make sure it's okay. And
Would you rather it was your camera then?
come to a positive solution.
Do we have a camera?
I do not believe so, no.
Okay,
We
so
contract
we'd have to get
some stuff.
Okay, but if they should get the plumber to contact you, or you would get the plumber?
The homeowner would get the plumber. We could check with DPW. They have televising capabilities. I just don't think they can go up one that's that small. We
Okay,
can certainly look into that and try to ease the burden, take a look and see what's available.
all right, well, let's kick this over to DPW, see what they can do about this, maybe if they got a camera. And that'll work. And, so it'll be between you and staff then. We'll get this to DPW, staff will be coming to you saying, they won't, well, it'll come back here. And we can get it all worked out. And, we'll deal with the fines then. And what we're gonna do with that and all your expenses, we'll look at all the dollars and try to come up with what's right. Okay, thank you.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion to refer to
Motion.
DPW and staff to,
Gonna hold it?
hold it to DPW and staff to see about, if we got cameras we can use, or get that pipe cameraed one way or another, and the pipe going to this swale, what can be done about that? If cutting it shorter, how much shorter? Will that work, or does it have to go to the ditch?
Yeah, just let the resident know of all options.
Well, it'll all come back here and it'll,
When would you like this to be returned?
how much time do you think staff would need on this?
Our next meeting isn't until June 22nd, or
Oh.
June 19th.
Oh, is that-
correct?
19th.
19th, thank you. June
That'd
19th.
be plenty of time, right?
I'll take the hard for following up with Kelly and DPW on televising the case.
Super duper. Okay, so we'll do this again next month.
Is that a motion? I second.
That's a motion, yep.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays?
Yeah.
All right, the ayes have it.
You may want to talk to plumbers and see what
I
your
guess I don't
expenses
understand why I
will
would have to pay for it when he told us that we could do it.
Yeah, well,
That's my only issue.
we'll resolve that in June.
Okay, and you're gonna be in touch? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Paul, thanks, Jason. Oh,
Yeah, thank you, guys.
All right, on to number 10, consideration of possible action on the resolution to add 9 additional reserve liquor licenses to the pool for a total of 32 reserve licenses.
I'll drink to that.
Yes, so we have 172 available liquor licenses, and that was based off of a formula presented to us by the Department of Revenue in 1997, and that number can never change. However, the city is entitled to additional reserve licenses dependent on population growth, and this is something we've never done before. So from 2000 to 2020, our population growth allows us to have 9 additional reserve licenses, and we're to let everyone know, that's how we came up with the number, we created this resolution.
Any questions?
And the reserve ones are the ones that are very expensive too.
Yes, at the cost of $10,000.
Motion to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Informational liquor violation report, please.
I have nothing to report to you today.
Perfect, thank you. Clerk's office licensing report.
Yes, so we currently have 171 liquor licenses that have been issued. We have one liquor license that has been issued but not yet granted. And at this time, we have no available liquor licenses.
Okay, thank you. I'll take a motion to receive and place on
Motion
file.
to receive and place on file. Lieutenant Mahoney has trained you well.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
please.
adjourn it.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Recording stuff.